What's up, people? So, doing something a little bit different tonight. Going to seven supposed to call seven with the Digital Liberation Front. That's what you're watching, by the way. You're watching the Digital Liberation Front live hour with me of all people. Um, so let me pull something up real quick. American Authoritarian Amnesia. That's what I wanted to talk about tonight. I've been talking a lot about, by now I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her account of what transpired during the January insurrection. This happened a couple weeks ago that apparently we're all supposed to get over. We're all supposed to forget about. We're all supposed to minimize. At least that's what the Republicans seem to want us to do. And I say Republicans plural because there is something about extremism in that it doesn't function in a bubble. It doesn't function in such a fashion where there's just a bunch of extremists over there and they're thriving and doing well without some kind of life force being given to them, because an extremist movement would eventually burn itself out due to the nature of extremism. It's not controlled, it's extreme. So the Republicans are that funnel right now, and the Democrats are enabling too, and I'll get to that later on, but the Republicans are directly complicit in that they won't remove the extremist members of their party from power. They will remove them from committees, but they're not going to remove them from Congress altogether. There's no push for that. Yes, you'll have individuals like Mitch McConnell who will denounce what's going on from the extremist wing verbally, but the actions won't align with that actual message. So that being said, what we're seeing is a bunch of enabling of extremism from the right. They're going to keep individuals like Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene in power. Because just them being in positions of power validates the means by which they attain that power. Just allowing them to be in a place where they are regarded as figures of authority because they actually, will have the ability to vote. Just because they're being removed from committees doesn't mean that they've been stripped of all power. Keeping them there lets individuals know who supported them in getting them to that position that they still have somebody on the inside. On top of that, we have people who have openly collaborated with the star defendant of this upcoming impeachment trial, who will be on the actual jury determining the fate of the individual in question. I'm not going to mention his name. Well, no, you know who he is. The one who preceded this one, who's in charge right now. So you have individuals like Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz, and whenever it comes to the impeachment trial, Senator Ted Cruz will get to cast his vote as to whether or not he'll be able to cast his vote as to whether or not, and I said because I was thinking about if we get to a trial, because that's a whole other thing too. It's like, the refusal to participate in the trial, calling the impeachment trial a sham, all that is it going to be a real trial? I don't know. But all I do know is you have people who colluded with the criminal in question who are going to be able to determine whether or not he gets off. So, on top of all that, we're being asked to find a middle ground, to govern peacefully with authoritarians, as if we have forgotten what authoritarianism does, what authoritarianism is, what fascism is. These are not concepts that were just made up as buzzwords by leftists to win the 2020 elections. This precedes where we are now. And Umberto Eco, when he was writing his essay on fascism, specifically talked about a new type of fascist that would arise because of the connected nature of our society, because of our increasingly connected nature. Back in 1997, I believe, is when he wrote that. But anyway, fascism, look it up. So yeah, we have a new type of fascism that is endorsed by the right, enhanced by technology. We saw that via Twitter, and yeah, he may have been disabled on Twitter, but all that did was removing him from Twitter, making him he became a Twitter martyr. That's basically what he did. He became a Twitter martyr. And so now he's on the outside, and Kevin McCarthy is going up to him to kiss his ring, and Mitch McConnell is not openly pushing to denounce or remove anybody from Congress who supports his crazy ideas. He becomes this shadow governor of this extremist wing of the party. But we're supposed to forget about him. We're supposed to forget what he did. We're supposed to forget, well, not forget, forgive. At least we're not being asked to pretend that the insurrection never happened yet, but we are being told to forgive, to get over it, to relax, to let these sociopaths who actively try to commit murder onto the floors of Congress with automatic weapons, because that's their constitutional right. I mean, I know there's hundreds of domestic violence cases where if you are considered to be part of the activity, your weapons are removed from you until they can get to the bottom of what happened. That's not happening with any of these insurrectionists, except for those who were on the front lines, who were put on the no-fly list. I don't know if Ted Cruz is on a no-fly list. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm not sure if she's on a no-fly list. I mean, there's a lot of people who are behind this insurrection who are still flying around perfectly fine. And so when I talk about, the consequences of things and this amnesia and this acceptance that, justice is being served, what we're seeing right now in regard to how things are being played out, these two tiers of justice specifically, we're seeing these two tiers of justice take place, where basically if you have access to power, money, influence, apparently you're able to still determine the fate of the country. But if you were on the front lines of that insurrection and walking actually through Congress looking for senators to hang, then, they're out looking for you. It's just interesting how this is playing out. But we're supposed to forgive. We're supposed to wait for our other $1,400 that still has not arrived from Joe Biden, which is the main reason why, I'm not, I've said, time and time again, you'll hear me argue with, fascists on this channel and talk about authoritarianism. And there's this assumption that, I'm automatically, a Democrat. I'm not. I'm definitely registered independent. And what you're seeing, is why the Democrats have leverage now in a way that they have not. That was one of the main reasons why it was so, impressive that they won Georgia and turned Georgia blue, and we got control of the Senate, and now it's just the judicial branch that's full of Republican appointees. But we can fix that too if we pack the courts. This idea that salvation was here whenever the Democrats won was not a real one to lean into. It just never was, because at the end of the day, capitalism has to reign supreme, and there are a lot of individuals who do not benefit from any of the solutions that need to be implemented to solve the problems that we're facing right now. On the left and the right, there's a lot of individuals who do not benefit, and those individuals have money. And so their concerns are not your concerns, our concerns. Their concerns lean toward protecting companies like hedge fund companies that benefited from the intervention that took place with the GameStop short. So they're all about regulating markets when it comes to the benefit of those that have money first. There might be a rainbow flag on it. There might be a Black Lives Matter flag. I mean, if you have any of you heard anything about any Black Lives Matter, I mean, it is definitely Black History Month. So I would think there would be some mass demonstration that would, show continued solidarity in this time of leftist ascendancy that's supposed to be occurring over these next 4 years. You would think that we would be more emboldened now to be in the streets with our masks on, obviously, continuing to ask for more than a few street names to be named or renamed, to push on the levers of power to make sure things are getting done and advance those pre-existing messages that existed, whenever we were, advocating for, community policing and all these other reforms. Those reforms still need to be implemented. And I understand, a grace period, but I don't hear about any organization going forward. It's like Black Lives Matter is just dead. And so, was it a weapon of neoliberals, and just symbolic? I don't know. So Shane says someone's Black Lives Matter flag was taken in NC. Can't remember what city town that was. Definitely hit the news yesterday, though. Yeah, and I know that was one of the main reasons that the Proud Boys, Enrique dude, Tario, whatever his name is, was arrested prior to the insurrection. Was he took a Black Lives Matter flag down the day of and destroyed it or burned it or whatever, and so he was wanted, for doing that, for destruction of property. Funny thing about it is, come to find out, he's an informant for the FBI that goes back, some time, and so it's quite convenient that he returns to the scene of the crime to be arrested right before all those other peons on the ground who went to battle for Trump were arrested. Seven's here.
That's good.
What's good, my dude?
Everything.
Good. How you feeling tonight?
Inundated. But I'll say I'm doing all right. Otherwise, not too many issues or problems here or there. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you. We good. Cool. No, we just my topic tonight was authoritarian American amnesia, and just going over where we are right now. It feels like everything is getting back to normal, and people are are drifting into this place of complacency, whether it be, I mean, even going as far as like minimizing what happened with the January 6th insurrection.
Sure. Yeah.
And what that means in the long term when it comes to, you know, when it comes to us normalizing the unacceptable, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like your life has changed?
Do I feel like my life has changed?
Yeah, since the inauguration, do you feel like your life has changed? Like, how is your inauguration high? How is it going?
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to. I didn't subscribe to the pre-rolls. So so I'm sorry. I guess I missed out. My bad. But no, I don't feel like there. Like, what sort of audience? I mean, sorry. What sort of I guess elated state was I supposed to be in?
I mean, people were elated. I remember there's a lot of people who were there. People celebrating, and there was crying. Kamala got inaugurated, so there were some tears about that. I remember that people were, and I'm not minimizing that. That was a good moment. That was a
Absolutely.
good.
I mean, and that should, and I think that like just that in itself, you know, woman of color who is, you know, who's the child of immigrants, who is now, you know, a heartbeat away from the highest office in the land, in the world, actually, in many respects. Yeah, that's a huge movement, huge. However, comma space, you know, I'm just saying there's still going to be this feeling for me, at least, that makes me feel like, okay, well, sure. She's there, but are we supposed to forget about her record? Are we supposed to forget about her ties with was it Joe Manchin? Are we supposed
who just said today, you know, he's not about the $15 an hour, you know, that minimum wage.
Gotta love that, because, you know, I actually, and it's funny, you know, I don't know if I can show it, but there's this video that kind of was trolling around the interwebs that I wanted to post, and I hadn't posted it yet. But it basically played back, you know, all of the stump speeches from Warnock, from Olive, from Joe, from Kamala, all talking. All of them talking about $2,000, $2,000 checks. It's coming. 2,000, all of that, right? So that was the mantra. That was the battle cry. Then it was
help is on the way.
All of that. Then they were like, where as soon as we get in office, we got you, bruh. Man, matter of fact, I think Joe went as far as saying, you elect Ossoff and Warnock, and you are getting these $2,000 checks. First day, bro. What are we talking about, man?
That's what we were told.
He said, I'm not giving you no BS. I'm not. What do you say? Something along the lines like, I'm not. Like, this isn't a guess. This is actual. I'm like, man, hey, you talking that real hot stuff. So let's do it then, if that's what you're really about.
Day one.
Unfortunately, I haven't seen it yet. I really haven't, and it's just, you know, I mean. So again, that's what I'm saying. So the $2,000 went to $1,400. Now, because they were like, well, you know, cumulatively, I mean, if you look at it, you got 6, 14 plus 6. I mean, that's 2,000. That's basically the same thing, right? That's not the same thing. In
theory.
See, that's what I'm saying. To me, it's not the same thing as a $2,000 check. That's
true.
Like,
true. Yes.
Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it all the way a buck. And I'm just like, oh, here it is. I found it. I don't know if we can. Would it be okay if I show it for a hot second? I can't like give it to you, but I could at least give you.
Yeah.
I give you.
Never to Washington. Those $2,000 checks will go out the door. We will be able to pass $2,000 stimulus checks for the people next week. We'll deliver the $2,000 stimulus checks, and that begins with the $2,000 stimulus. When you send me and Reverend Warnock to the Senate, we will pass those $2,000 stimulus checks. You send
God.
to the Senate, we will pass those $2,000
We will.
stimulus checks.
They will make decisions about whether we get people a $2,000 check.
We need to pass $2,000 stimulus checks for
There's a talking point.
the $2,000 in relief, direct payment. Congress should pass $2,000 checks. President-elect Biden and Democrats are all pushing for $2,000 relief checks.
All right, so I won't play the whole thing, but you know how it goes. So $2,000 checks turned into $1,400, and now it's as low as $1,000.
What? They lowered it lower?
Oh yeah, you didn't.
This is boo-boo garbage.
Yeah. This is the worst. This is the worst. This is by far. Yeah. I'm just so So we had goalposts moving on the right. Now we're seeing the version of goalposts moving on the left. Again. So inauguration high. I didn't get that prescription. But Dr.
Speaking of which. That's the whole other thing too. Like executive order what happened to the cannabis push? You can do that, but you don't need anybody's help for that shit. Just go ahead and this is what we're doing. Boom, bam.
That's not the Joe way. That's not in his 100-day plan. We've got to get things done, man.
What is he? Okay, he signed some stuff. I heard that we're not taking any more kids into the camps, and then they're searching for parents of the kids who are in the camps, and then I guess they're just going to keep the kids in the camps. How is this? What have you heard on that? Because I feel like there's no plan.
I really do, and I'm with you. I feel like they had for a moment they had an idea of. It almost seemed like they said, "Well, let's just put in a stall tactic. Let's just install a stall, so that way we can kind of figure out what's supposed to happen." So I think they had like a 30-day. They wanted to put a 30-day moratorium on any people being
intake or process.
Yeah, kicked out. No.
Kicked out. Okay.
Yeah, kicked out the states and sent back home. And I think it was a judge either in Texas or somewhere. I can't remember right now, but the judge was like, there's no justification for this other than to stall. And if you're saying you want to stall just to stall, I ain't here for that. Send them out. Keep going. Eviction, country evictions. Let's go. Kick them out.
Gotcha.
But no, as far as ICE and all that, I mean, and the separation of the parents and the children, I haven't heard any plans of mitigation for that, other than we're trying. We're gonna get these kids. It's like they put out the positive rhetoric to make it sound like, well, we're doing
an effort is being made somewhere somehow. We'll keep you updated whenever we figure this shit out. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I noticed.
Go ahead.
I noticed that there's a push to, open back up in regard. I mean, I guess that's the other thing too. The vaccine distribution, like we're still in the air as to like how that's supposed to happen. I mean, they did, kind of offset some of the responsibility on Trump by, revealing that there was no plan. There were these vaccines, were not on hand the way that they said they were going to be. A bunch of hospitals and stuff were like pissed off about, that not being there. But now we're in a stage now where how are they prioritizing who gets the vaccine first? Like, once again, you have these quote unquote essential workers, who are out there on the front lines, these teachers who are out there on the front lines. They're expecting these kids to go back to school and everything. But as far as like making accommodations to make sure they're essential enough to get this vaccine, they're not. I mean, I found that interesting, when I listened to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's speech or her live about the Capitol insurrection, the day, I think she said like the day of, or the day, I think it was the day of she had gone and she was going to get her second shot.
Mm.
And was complaining about the fact that the second shot hurt more than the first one. Meanwhile, you have essential workers who are out there, who have no idea, when, where, and how to get this, and then what version of it will they be getting, and what are the side effects and whatnot. Like,
and don't forget the Hollywood elite who are buying their way ahead of line to
exactly.
They can get theirs, because I heard that there were quite a few A-listers who like already gotten theirs.
Yeah, there was one. I've heard there was like one rich couple or whatever that was looking at a lawsuit because they jumped ahead in line for this. So I mean, does that mean that's the thing too? It's like mixed messages about this shit. It's like there's obviously rich people, going through back channels to get it. So would you be paying that much money for something that could make you grow a third eye or whatever? Or is it just, that's how desperate people are right now to get away from this shit, considering the fact that you have multiple variants now? That's a whole nother thing that they're trying to get ahead of.
Dude, I got so many questions when it comes to this thing, and just the laws, the legislation, the proper proposals that they have as far as thinking that, or this belief that people have about there's going to be like a travel passport or a vaccine passport that you'll need to travel and stuff. And I'm like, why though? Because here's the thing. I feel like, okay, well, if you got COVID, I'm sorry, not COVID, but you have the vaccine, right? Say, said Big B got the shot. All right. So you got it. You got round 1 and 2. You good. I got COVID. Right? Me having COVID and hanging around you shouldn't be affected because you got the shots.
In theory.
And that's what I'm saying. But
yeah.
So if that's not the case, then why are we forcing people to take the shot? or semi-forcing people to take the shot? Because basically that's nothing but extortion. Like, you want to travel? You want to travel? You want to travel? Take this motherfucking shot. You better take this motherfucking shot.
You ain't going nowhere. You ain't seeing nothing. No shot.
Get that vein together. Come on, let's do it. My bad. A different shot.
True. Well, I mean, that's the other thing too. Is like the shot. I mean, apparently the shot that we're supposed to be getting isn't even from the one that is supposed to be rolled out in mass amounts. Isn't even manufactured here in the States. It's supposed to be where, from Australia? Where the hell was that shit from? I was looking at the stock for it.
Yeah, Africa is aren't they in Australia? No, Moderna is in Australia.
Okay.
I believe, and but they had and didn't they recently have to cancel the entire their entire batch or something like that a couple weeks back, like right before the New Year, I believe. And in Australia, they had to cancel their the manufacturing of there was some kind of complications. It's gonna eat me up. I'm gonna have to find it. But yeah, there was something going on with the Australian vaccine. Yeah, the Australian vaccine that they
but now we have different variants. That's what I was getting ready to get into. Is like,
right.
Now we have different versions they're trying to get ahead of, because as these things start to branch off and start to mutate and whatnot, it becomes harder to create a universal vaccine that can address all the profiles. Not that it becomes that much more. It's not like it's going to mutate into something that turns us into walking zombies or whatever, but it's going to be harder to nail down as far as vaccines. Now people got to take this other vaccine on top of this other vaccine.
And that's what I'm saying. So when, we got a comment. It says facility blew up. Oh, India. Holy crap.
Yeah, she's talking about the India facility.
Wow. But dude, I mean, like, is this what we have to look forward to with this thing every time or not even with this thing, but with and you did cough while we said the topic.
I'm sorry, I got overwhelmed emotionally. Go ahead.
Hey, man, maybe in my scenario I created, I'm the one who got the vaccine and you have COVID. maybe that's how
I got digital COVID. I got
a little COVID in my chest.
But it's going to be. But the thing is, you know, even with COVID, is just the first of of the pandemics. As a result of the mass migrations are going to be taking place as a result of climate change, shifting borders as a result of global destabilization, financial destabilization. We saw, I mean, like GameStop was crazy, but it was crazy because there is, this anger, at the wealthy due to the huge wealth gap that comes, with late stage capitalism. So, we're going to see more global unrest. We're going to see people in areas that they weren't before taking, taking diseases and things with them that weren't in those native to those areas before. We're going to see, basically explosions in regard to, not to say every single month is going to be a new pandemic, but this is going to be more commonplace. Warmer temperatures allow for these diseases to proliferate, mosquitoes and whatnot, like all kinds of things.
Yeah. So do you think with all of that coming that we're going to see like a massive change of, political policy that's going to address that in an effective way, or do you think it'll be more theory, kind of in the vein of Joe Biden and his federal prisons contract, which only affects 9% of prisoners?
I think exactly that's what's going to happen. I think I think it's going to be like a volleyball. Like, I feel like we're going to be tossed back and forth between extremists and, this more palatable authoritarian compromise. And then whenever we get pissed off with Joe Biden, as we will in 2022, whenever he doesn't fulfill his promises.
Oh, not even that, dude. The hashtag just a couple days ago was Biden lied.
Mm-hmm.
Talking just in reference to the stimulus check.
Exactly.
So I mean, there's already people who are upset, but it's like they were ready to be upset for anything.
But they were. But the thing was, we should have been ready to have a solution to them being upset. That's what I mean. Like, if on the left, there should have been a plan day one that could immediately be like, bam, like they doing something. Look at this. We got this. They have the plan for the $2,000 checks. It came through. Executive action. They're figuring it out on the back end, but the help is on the way. They spent that whole time during their campaigns strategizing what they would do on day one to help us on day one. And then we got a lot of symbolism. There were some beautiful poems. Lady Gaga was there.
J-Lo was there.
J-Lo, she did a performance in multiple languages. She put a performance inside a performance with a message. I forgot all of it, but it all happened.
So your inauguration high is worn off?
My inauguration, I wasn't high enough for the inauguration. That's all.
That's it. There you go.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
I was like, here goes. I was like, oh, cue the pomp and circumstance. And I recognize history was made. This is not me belittling that at all. But the thing is, like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, with this emotional outpouring, with this release, with this calming of tension, there is there's a complacency that settles back in. Everything's going to be all right. The adults are back in charge. Everything's okay. We're going to have this nice impeachment, and we're going to punish Trump, and he's going to get what's coming to him. But we're going to keep all these people around him who embolden him. We're going to keep them in Congress. So we're going to denounce them at every chance that we can. But that's what we're going to do. Everything's going to be fine. We got this pandemic under control.
Yeah. But do they, and will they? And because here's the thing, and I talked about this, and you addressed it, and you hit it perfectly, dude. Listen, I was saying this September, October, November. I mean, I was saying all of this, vehement energy going towards Trump is a dope thing. Okay, cool. Everybody's united. They got
Keep
their
that energy.
That's what I'm saying, man. Everybody got their Independence Day moment. We got an alien now. We can all focus our energy on it. We all hate. We did that. Okay, cool. The alien's been taken care of, and now it's like, so what? Everybody's supposed to sit back and sing Kumbaya? No, we still got hurt. We would just have people Black Lives Mattering down the streets just a couple months ago. So, I mean,
What happened? Is Black Lives Matter? Is Black Lives Matter still going on? Are they still having meetings? Maybe are we meeting up with Antifa? How is it? What are we doing?
You got a couple things mistaken when it comes to Black Lives Matter. You forget Black lives. Well, we're tropical people, so we can only really protest in like the spring, summer.
Got
fall.
you.
We are not an all year round. We are not an all year round protest. So
they should put Black History Month in the middle of July or something. June.
How about
Juneteenth happens in June? Why not Black History Month in June?
Thank you. I would even take August, which has no holidays.
True.
Except for my birthday. But but seriously, I would take like June, July, August. We could do any of those for Black History Month, and I understand, it started off Black History Week and all that. I get that. I'm just saying, like, we've evolved. We do move things. Christmas hasn't moved. We can move Black History Month.
We should. We need a petition for that because it's the shortest month of the year. Black History Month is supposed to be all year round. That's what we're supposed to say that's the obligatory thing we say every year. Black History Month should be every month. Black History Day should be every day. Okay, we said that. So, technically, if we move it to June,
I think that would be. I mean, honestly, I think that would be a better move.
I think as Black people, Black people should be able to do that. If we can't do that, we can't do anything else. Reparations, that's small potatoes compared to this shit. We should be able. We should move a holiday. I don't understand why we can't have 2 months. This is if rich people could have a summer home and a winter home, we could have a summer Black History Month and a winter Black History Month.
We can have a spring Valentine's Day called Valentine's Day and a fall Valentine's Day called Sweetest Day. I don't see why we can't have 2 holidays on 2 different parts of the year. That's the same holiday on 2 different parts. It could be like we have. Sure, we could do our Black History Month in February. Fine, we keep.
As a matter of fact,
but
I propose that we call it Blacker History Month.
Really? Are you done? No. If you get that on some paper and people are back to the day,
Black History Month 2.
I think it's gonna upset these guys behind me right here. But
true. That was not a colorist statement. I was not making a statement about colorism. Was not a
no, but so it's interesting. So you kind of broached the subject. So I was on Twitter last night, and I noticed that there was a lot of vitriol going back and forth between Africans and Black Americans.
I've been seeing that vibe, not just between Africans and Black Americans, but have you seen colorism become more a thing too? Like that's a color, like people upset about colorism as well?
No. Tell me.
Okay, all right. Maybe this is people I've been like observing, but go ahead with your observation.
So I just noticed like there were a gang of, and oddly enough, they were Nigerians, which when you think about the Nigerian prince and the phone calls and all that stuff and the scam and how they like, so you got that background, but it like there was a Nigerian person who basically said like I was told that like February is Black History Month it's when the entire world celebrates Black people's achievements, and I'm like, the world?
The world?
When?
We went global? When we go global?
When did y'all started celebrating that in Nigeria then? If that's I mean, like you came here and you heard about it. So then what was they doing where you was at? Like let's
In Nigeria, they call Black History Month history.
They call it history. Like I get that, sure, and so that's just kind of interesting. And so what I started to see, and I guess the root of all this was one woman had said something like, "Hey, it's a Black History Month. Let's make sure we support, Black, celebrate Black achievements and all that." Then she said, "And make sure we send some money to this organization in Nigeria to support the anti-SARS movement that's happening, with the police out there and all that, the private police." So she's like, "Let's celebrate this," and she's put hashtag BLM, hashtag NAACP, hashtag like all these Black organizations. I'm like, oh man, the grift is heavy with this one. That was nothing but a grift move. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And so I could see why people would get that or feel like, there's a disingenuous vibe that's coming from that. And from Nigerians or any African of that matter, who's like, oh, look, we're here to celebrate Black history. Like, yeah, Black American history, because these are the Black people in America who, against all odds, still achieved these great things. Like that's pretty much what it's about. No shade to any Africans who immigrated here or did anything. Like, y'all Black too, definitely. But you know what I'm saying? I just feel like when we're talking about Black History Month, more times than not, we're talking about people who were here and did stuff here.
George Washington Carver, Rosa Parks.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make this a whole ADOS reparations argument or nothing like that. So I'm not even gonna go that route.
Okay.
But I just mean, like, I just felt like as far as the what I was seeing online, like there was a lot of conversation that was happening, and then here's the weird thing. So it's like the African woman, she first was saying, so she was getting tired of all these, because it's on Twitter, so all these Black people just came in and let's zoom in and attack. So that was happening. So first she was saying, peace and love. I'm just here to learn. Then she was like, well, then I guess after a while she was like, well, at the end of the day, Africa is your father, and you need to go pay your father some respect, basically. And I'm like, wow. I thought that was the motherfucking land, but now it's the fatherland.
She pulled right.
and then she like went into attack. She was like, no matter what y'all do, you'll never be respected by your colonizers. And we're like, but you're here.
Asking for colonizer money.
Yeah, and
asking for that good colonizer money.
And acting like a colonizer.
Exactly.
Like so conversation got weird. And I was like, all right, let me get out of here. This is weird. But it was a long thread.
We've gone into depths of Blackness I'm not willing to traverse. This is gone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we kind of went off. I want to go back to that whole thing about Joe and Kamala and the whole of just expectations. And like I said, I was saying back in September, October, November, I felt like there was going to be a lulling to sleep of the voting majority, where they'd say, "Oh, we got the right person in office now. Put it on cruise control. We good."
Basically,
and it's all. And so it's like you're wrong if you push against Joe for some reason. Or you're wrong if you say something against Kamala for whatever reason. And I just feel like I feel like all of that's disingenuous. I'm not a partisan person. So
yeah, I'm independent for a reason.
Yeah,
you can talk shit about me if I'm walking around calling myself a Democrat, and then I'm coming and talking shit about Kamala, and I'm talking shit about Joe. You talk shit, Brandon. You a hypocrite. Those are supposed to be your people. Those are not my people.
Absolutely. I'm not even fucking with them like that. Like, what are we talking about? I don't do this whole this is the person that's on our side, so we just not even gonna question them, and everything they do is right. Fuck you, mean.
That's the problem. If I have a problem with Trumpism, why wouldn't I have a problem with that?
That's what I'm saying. that's what I'm saying. Real quick side note, isn't it kind of interesting that there's always like an ism or a mindset when it comes to like a lot of these like viral Republicans? Like you got Reaganomics, Trumpism, like there's a whole like you got to
create a culture around
a cult to be a part of it for real. You can't just be like, well, I just voted. Like, no, you didn't vote. You voted. You know what I'm saying? Or you didn't just vote. You made a historical impression on our historical future.
Exactly. You've changed lives.
You've changed the course of America. You've just saved my children. Thank you so very much. Like that. Yeah, that's what it seems to come to, and it's like, you know, that's just kind of weird. But I just thought, like, you know, I remember you and I had said this before, and you were saying like, okay, vote him in, and then hold his feet to the fire afterwards. And I'm like, afterwards, it's almost too late.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I guess it's kind of like the whole Bernie mentality too, in regard to like what Bernie did with his campaign in regard to exposing the system. Sure. Like now, you know, people who made that call, like yourself, who said like, y'all better, you know, get something from him now, because once he get in, he ain't gonna do shit. People like yourself who may have said that, now you're vindicated, because we're looking at the situation and we're seeing, where's this help coming from? Where are these checks? You know, you had time to get a plan together. Like, you had time. When we were defending them, calling you Sleepy Joe and stuff, like, you had time. Whenever you were, you know, you had all this time to come up with really, really good solutions that could have been implemented from day one. But the problem is, now that you empower, it's about negotiating with the same people that got us into this shit. Before you make any problems.
I fucking understand. Why is it necessary for Democrats? Why is it like an automatic understanding that Democrats are going to be bipartisan, but Republicans do whatever the fuck they want, and it's cool? Like, that is the weirdest thing to me. And it's always like some you know, left of center ass. I mean, I don't see left of center, just centrist ass Democrat that's sitting there talking about, we got to make sure we talk to our friends on both sides of the aisle so we can, you know, get our good circle jerk going.
And that's a recipe for getting pulled further and further and further to the right until you got racists running over your capital.
Dude, yeah. And then, you know, and I'm gonna keep saying this until the freaking cows come home. Somebody's gonna make a meme out of me doing that. Anyway, but I mean, we can say it until the cows come home. You know, the whole thing about you know, Biden and you know, he's gonna you know, make things happen and help out the people. But dude, we're not seeing. Well, I won't say we're not seeing, but you know, you were saying that it would have been a good idea for him to have you know, get the plans together while he was hiding out in the basement. Get his team together and say, hey, every single body, let's go ahead and get this plan together. Let's get plan B together. Let's get some caveats built in. They didn't do that. So now
here's something tangible you can feel day one. Something tangible, even if it's just like $500 checks. The rest of it's in the mail. It's coming. Something.
Dude, $600 checks we got. Trump sent them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's so bad? I almost feel like if he had sent 2,000, he may have won.
He probably would have. He probably would have.
And it's like that would have. Well, I won't say it would have been, but it to me, it's all just, you know, pay to play. You know, like it all at the end of the day, it reminds me of that book, The Jungle, where it talks about you know, address the slaughterhouses in Chicago, and man who was working there, basically, you know, hard working dude, and then gets beat down by side. You know, but there was a point in the book where politicians would come out to the factories, give everybody $5, give them a day off, and say, all right, just hop on this bus with me, and we finna go vote. And I'm gonna tell you who to vote for. Like, to me, that ain't no different than that.
That's how Nino Brown, was able to hold down New Jack City. You know, you handed out turkeys every Christmas and stuff, like, you know, to the entire, everybody eats, you know, you can keep up your little criminal operation. Problem is, just got too greedy in the end. That was the main thing. And he was too busy trying to pay off people so he could stay in power. He wasn't thinking about the people that put him in power.
Which is strange, because I don't know. It's almost like you want to be cheap and powerful, and
they don't add up.
Yeah, like something's got to give. You can't do all of it. You know, he almost had the right mix. He just left it in the oven too long.
And that's the thing too. Is like that was the whole reason why I was talking about this American amnesia. Like he's created a path that just someone smarter needs to pick up the pieces. And yeah, we can laugh at somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about Jewish space lasers and shit, but the fact is she's there. She's in power. She's not being removed. They talk about taking her off committees, but she's not being removed. So she becomes a mascot. And next in 2022, you see people trying to double down, triple down, quadruple down, double down on crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was talking with I almost was, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I was talking to a young man who considers himself a black Republican. Seriously. And I'm just like, you're 25 years old. Like what? Okay. Like, and you're okay. Sure. I'm like, all right, sure. You're all right. You do your thing. Do your thing. You're fine. But I'm like, I was telling him, like, dude, you have first you allowed the Tea Party into your party.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody said anything.
Mm-hmm.
And you letting the Tea Party in allowed that door to be kind of cracked with QAnon. And now you got QAnon in there. And now you got QAnon talk on day one. We need to impeach the president. Really?
Mm-hmm.
The same chick who's saying that it was following David Hogg on college campus. Well, I'm right outside of college campus. Like following him around and asking him where's his George Soros money. And then making a post. She had posts where she was threatening while holding the AK-47 and holding it at the squad, saying, I'm the worst, the squad's worst nightmare or something like that. I mean, you're in public office. Public office. And the only thing that's like, and the weird thing about her is like, she's just as crazy as Druffler. Just as crazy.
If not more.
But she doesn't have the backing.
No.
So it'll be interesting to see, how she plays this out. But getting to the point of, just the whole of the Republican Party, I'm just like, dude, like you've got all these bad shit, crazy people who are in the party now. You think that's gonna stop?
No.
I mean, well, actually, let me back it up. I just thought about it. It actually started with David Duke.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When y'all let David Duke in and let his ass run for president. I mean, that was really the first move, because it was like, wait, you can be a blatant racist out in the, well, he wasn't a blatant racist, but a lot of his stuff, a lot of his proposals were racist as fuck. Like one was, I remember he had one for sterilizing black women, and or incentivizing women to get sterilized. Give them $100 so that way they'll give up their future on having babies. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, so you let him in. Nobody blinked an eye. Nobody was like, oh, no, we can't do that ever again. We can't have that. No. Then Tea Party. Crazy. Obama made me do it. Okay, sure. All right. Then now QAnon. Space lasers. Jew lasers.
That's that exactly. And that, I mean, and if you're talking about more crazy from here, you're going to have, because the thing is, it's just like somebody. It's just like people getting ready to get into a fight. Like you got two gangs, right? And so it's like people don't automatically start if they don't have any firearms or whatever. Start popping off or whatever. It's about escalation. Like this person talking shit to this person. Now this person calls somebody's mama a bitch, and this person spit on this person. Now this person has to punch.
What you want to do?
Exactly. Down and up. And so that's what's happening with this rhetoric. In order for somebody to out crazy somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, if Marjorie Taylor Greene is talking about, I'm the squad's worst nightmare, click clack, you're gonna have someone who be like, well, I'm the squad's worst nightmare, and click clack, pow pow. I took out some of the squad.
Like, how far are we going? We already got Lauren Boebert fucking bringing guns to Congress.
Exactly.
Bringing guns, all like weaponry.
Exactly.
That's illegal. It's just illegal. That's all. I mean, you're a politician. Why do you think? Because and I like again, these incredulous bastards. I cannot fucking stand, especially when they've got that shit-eating grin on their face. Like, I know it all. How do you? Almost like, of course I'm bringing my gun onto Congress floor. What do you mean? Or of course I'm going to bring my gun into through the metal detector. And then
the Democrats have to debate it. Like, you know, we don't want to interfere with the rights. We should bring this to the floor for a vote. We should bring it to the floor for a vote. Meanwhile, they continue to just walk through the metal detector, do whatever. I'll pay my fine because I think my $500 fine is going to be worth the money that I raise whenever I shoot up Congress and I hit AOC or Ilhan Omar. That's going to make my fucking fundraising go through the roof. I'll be able to pay for my attorney and my congressional seat.
Yeah, because you're going to need both. You need money for both. But yeah,
and they'll vote me back up. They'll vote me back in, and I'll have some kind of congressional waiver or something for why I felt like Alexandria was going to hurt me, and so that means I was justified in shooting her first. They'll find some way around it, some way to rationalize it.
Absolutely, and that just kind of brings me back to my fear when it comes to this whole thing with the Democratic Party and Joe and Kamala and what they're doing. I mean, you got a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing. I mean, that's a lot. I say that's what we the people are seeing, especially because we had to be so vigilant in a lot of cases when it came to the last administration. So with that shit that just left, you think we're gonna let you come through and just be like, yeah, no, it's all good. We only got 100. We had thousands of people who rushed the Capitol, but we only got 112 locked up right now. We want to make sure we get the right people and draw this out fucking long enough that all of a sudden the American people say, ain't that big of a deal. Same thing that happened with Grant and the fucking KKK after the Civil War. So that's what I don't want to happen. That's why I feel like it's necessary to continue to keep their fucking feet to the fire as best we can.
Yeah.
Say, hey, Joe, I know you're in office now. Congrats. Where's our check? Where's my money? Where's my money at? Oh yeah, I know. The GOP did. Yeah, I'm sure did. Yeah, I know, man. Yeah. COVID. Woo, right? I know, right? COVID. But my money. For real, where my money at? Like, I'm chewing my air right now. I'm chewing.
You had said, Joe.
Right, but Joe, remember no, but you had said that though, for real.
Yes, that's what you had said. We're only going off what you had said. That's why we voted for you. But but
that's it. See, that's our problem. Our problem is, and that's why I honestly propose. This may be a completely radical idea. I honestly propose that we should have, and maybe this will take all of the I don't know, investment into politics away, and maybe that this in itself would lull people to sleep. But I honestly feel like we need to go back to almost like a radio type of experience when it comes to the political game. Like, we don't need this hear whose voice said what. I want to read what they said and then read what their actions were based on what they've said. Because a lot of times they'll come out on stage. I mean, for example, let's go back to the presidential debate. Joe Biden, when they asked him about reparations, and Buttigieg had his little say, talking about from a small town Guyana where all the black people hate me, saying all that stuff. And then you had Cory Booker. Well, I feel that the black people should get, he's doing all his things. then you got freaking Joe Biden. This is a contradiction immigrants. If anybody doesn't know that this is a country of immigrants, and by gum, we need to understand that this is a country of immigrants. Like, reparations ain't got shit to do with immigrants, homie. What are we talking about? You just changed the entire subject. Nobody said shit. Sound and fury signifying nothing. See what I'm saying?
Conversation.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And so it's like people get caught up in that shit. So and I'm not saying that that's what got him elected or anything, but I'm like, dude, like you sat there and ran down a whole bunch of information that none of it answered the fucking question. Like we don't get pushback from our journalists, from our mediators. We don't get pushback from hardly anybody when it comes to politicians because there's always this awe factor. In addition to, I don't want this man to eat me. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always that thing. That's why I love when we saw during the Trump administration, a lot of those British journalists gave no fucks. They gave no fucks about.
They were straight honest all the time.
I love the one guy because he interviewed Trump and Jared Kushner, and he was like like in the Jared Kushner interview. Oh my God, he said, I know you wasn't a part of it, but was it racist? And Jared was like, yeah, I wasn't even working with him then. Yeah, I know.
That's a question. Yes,
that I understand. Yes, thank you. But was it racist? Answer the fucking question, dude. What are you doing? Can you not? And that's it. Like anyway. But yeah, so it's stuff like that we don't have enough of. We don't have enough of that here in the United States because they know.
And that's one reason why I appreciate like you coming on the show. You know, I appreciate what it is, you know, we're trying to do, you know, using our respective platforms by having these discussions, because the thing is people don't want to talk, and if people don't even talk about it, like, you know, what's the point of, I mean, you know, if people don't want to talk about it, no feet are going to be held to the fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, we don't even vet people. We got, wasn't it Tom Cotton lied on his resume. Completely lied.
Yeah.
Can't remember what it is, but you can look at, y'all can Google it. Tom Cotton lied on his resume to get elected.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? We got Josh Hawley here in Missouri, who was from here in Missouri, from his private school going to Rockhurst University over on the west side, right off Truce, on in the good part of Kansas City. The beginning of the good part, as they say. But he actually lives in fucking Virginia. His sister lives in Columbia, and that's whose address he uses when he illegally votes here in Missouri. But it's like nobody says shit about that. And that's what I'm like. That's what I'm talking about. So it's like, do we have rules or do we have suggestions? Yeah.
It feels like suggestions. It feels like suggestions. I was talking earlier today with someone, about this very thing, because we were, I was talking about the fact that, the Democrats need to be firmer in regard to not even fucking around with the Republicans until they clean house. And that means
get your act together. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if that means, Congress has to, Joe Biden needs to work with Congress to grind it to a halt or whatever until these individuals, these terrorists are ejected from your party, because I don't need terrorists casting any kind of legislation. I don't understand why they're there to cast legislation, considering what they did. Like you are literally forcing me to sit down and not only eat dinner with my abuser, but continue to live and act like we cool.
Yeah,
everything cool. We cool. Like you literally just beat the shit out of. You tried to beat the shit out of mom. But fortunately, mom was able to get out the back door before, you went upstairs and got your baseball bat. But you eventually came down with that bat like you want to beat the shit out of her.
Way to go, Chad Wheeler.
So you see that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just supposed to sit down and be like, yeah, let's continue to watch this person play football. Let's continue. Like, we know this is what he stays on the team. He stays on the team.
I'm sorry. Let me use my good eye. Now you kind of hit me in this one. It's okay now. It's fine. But I get this one. Fuck.
I can't get with it. And then it's getting so it feels like to even acknowledge that reality is upsetting to people. They just don't want to. They just don't want to talk about it. We want to go back to what we thought was normal. But the thing is, and I said this a long time ago, normal isn't here anymore. We don't have. This is something new. We're in a new place, a new way of looking at the world right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, and I'm hoping everyone, once their eye heals, can see the world with better vision.
Yeah,
go ahead.
We got impeachment. We got impeachment coming up, so hopefully that will, it'll be entertaining at least. I guess it'll be entertaining at least.
Let me ask your opinion on that. Do you think that will actually divide the country more if we actually hold people fucking accountable?
If the country, there's that saying, whatever can be destroyed by truth deserves to be destroyed by truth.
I've never heard that, but I like it. So
that's how I feel about impeachment. I feel like the truth needs to come out, the entire truth. And if this truth, and Lindsey Graham is talking about, well, if you all call witnesses, we're going to have to call witnesses. And they're going to try to dig into some bullshit to try to find some way to get Joe Biden to Hunter Biden on the stand, some crazy dumb fuckery bullshit just to get them to lie under oath so they can match the lies that are inevitably going to be told by Trump.
We're going to have Hunter Biden coming Joe Turtle looking ass.
Exactly. You'll be trying to figure out they'll be trying to figure out some way to draw some false ass parallel to divert from the fact that we just had this fascist administration, and they're trying to get them off the hook, and Democrats will play into that fucking game because they're going to look for any kind of distraction to divert from the fact they still haven't given us our checks. And we're still going to be figuring out how COVID's going to be addressed, some new variant, and
I'm afraid, man. Just hey, let me know when that Bubba Kush COVID come out. That shit, they got new strains every week. They say so.
I'm just
not cookies. I heard is the shit.
I just want to get legal. Can we legalize it so we can at least just go out? Everybody can just go out and be like, "Yo, the world is fucked up," but I feel good.
At least I can smoke good. and don't tax people just because they. I mean, just because they smoking that don't mean you need to tax them like crazy. You didn't do that with tobacco. You knew that was hooked.
Exactly.
That's what it is, though. See, marijuana is not habit forming.
No,
it really is.
I'm willing to openly accept being fucked over as a country if you're just willing to allow us that. Just give us this one thing, and we can turn this one thing into an industry that can create jobs, and rich people can make more money. Just give us this one thing, just this one thing, just this one thing.
Blow the back out of my weed stock.
Basically,
blow that whole back out.
Basically, give me that boost. I want the bounce. I want the bounce.
Some of that. That's what I want. Man, I mean, but yeah, that just I don't think there's enough. And here's the thing. I honestly feel like with whoever would have gotten it, whether it been Joe or anybody within that field of Democratic losers, I feel like any of them would have, they would have already been like their administration would have an asterisk next to it.
Yeah.
Wherein they could say, well, if I'm not dope, it's because of COVID. It's because of the previous administration. It's because of, it's all these other things that are already built, these poison pills that are already built in.
Yeah.
But if I come out dope, well, then there's still an asterisk on it. You know what I'm saying? Because of COVID, because of all this other stuff, because everything, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got the people to unite. What about that second term now? Oh, yeah. But with Joe, we're gonna be like, oh man, I can't. I'm old. Oh, yeah. I'm dead. You know,
that second turn has to be earned, though, man. That second turn has to be earned. I just don't see. Right now, I'm not feeling like it's going to happen. I'm not feeling it. I'm trying to look for the doubt. We're not even a month in to the first,
But see, here's the thing: when we have a centrist president, though. So we have a centrist president, and he decides to not really pursue everybody who stormed the Capitol, only the ones they could find who also had records, who were also probably already on an FBI watch list of some sort, which is fucking disingenuous as shit. But it's like, and we don't do anything about the Republicans who are in Congress currently. We don't do the QAnons. We don't do anything about them, the crazies, the Hawleys, the Cruzes. We don't do shit about them. None of them, right? For a centrist president, that's perfect. Because that's exactly what he wants. And that's exactly how he end up getting the Republicans who normally wouldn't vote Democrat to vote for him because they're like, hey, this guy's all right. He let my guy James run right in there and almost try to kill AOC. But you know what? James is right here sitting next to me. Say hi, James. You know what I'm saying? Way to go, Biden, 4 more years. Like, I can see that.
Okay. Well, okay.
I mean, those guys are defeated, man.
Okay, I'm about to finish making dinner. I'm about to pour myself a drink, and I'm just gonna hope for change.
Don't be so depressed, man.
I'm not depressed.
If you don't know if you want to vote for Joe Biden, then you ain't black. Remember that, Jack.
I really think just as a meme, I want to push for a second Black History Month. I think if we try to move Black History Month from February, I think it'll be too much. But I think if we try to appropriate, June as the second Black History Month and make that a thing, like going into June, we need to talk about that, like leading all the way up, and we just need to declare it as such and actually make, push, Biden to actually, make it official. That if we can't get that done, I don't think anything can get done.
How about this? How about we just move Black History Month to June?
Okay.
We say, all right, for immigrants, you can have February.
True, because you're new. You need this.
Right. You get that. You get that new shit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you right after King's birthday, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. King, Washington, Lincoln, and you.
Mm-hmm.
You get all of that. But when it's warm and people want to kick it, Juneteenth, baby. That's all ours.
Now all cookouts. All cookouts all month.
That's what I'm saying. It should be
number cookouts.
It should, and that's what I was initially thinking. I was like, Black History Month. And in February, the cookout month in June. But
exactly.
But I'm just saying, like that's a good, and then that's a great primer to, Independence Day.
True. Exactly. That's.
I think that's a viable plan. I think we could be like, hey, immigrants, so Australians, South Americans, South Africans, Iraqis, Indian, whatever you are, hey. But anything but white people and black people, white people of America and ADOS, hey, this whole month is yours, baby. Do what you want, all of it. Hey, you can have your you can move the Chinese New Year every February, even though I know this rotates, But you could every February, like we observe it in February. We understand it moves, but we observe it in February. We do observances for holidays all the damn time. Y'all could do that. You know what I'm saying? So all my Chinese folks out there, ni hao. But I'm just saying, like, y'all can do that. And seriously, I feel like that would be easy to get that legislation going. And that's something I would actually support.
Got you. Well, we're gonna make this happen, Sev. We're gonna make this happen.
Hey, let's do it, man, because we damn sure ain't getting these checks. So we have to do something else. Dude, I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, I mean, if we're doing symbolic, let's just make this a whole symbolic 4 years. It's gonna be a symbolic. We just every week a new symbolic gesture. We just need to come up with new symbolic gestures, and that'll be our thing. Symbolic. I want to make a shirt of just hashtags that just symbolic gestures. Just Black History Month every month. Hashtag.
Every month.
Exactly. That I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be a shirt. We're gonna get on it. Thanks for coming out, dude.
No doubt. I figured, you know what I'm saying? Listen, they could at least give us $40.
True.
They fucking us anyway.
I'll let you have that. That's you. I'll let you have